thawed and refrozen. These enzymes don't thaw. They don't freeze and they don't thaw. They just stay in very, very, very cold glycerol. And that's the way you keep them active. Otherwise, they lose their activity and your experiments won't work. Yours might work, but then the rest of the classes won't work. So that's no fair. Right? So we're going to take care of these enzymes. Right? So basically, open the tops and then use 1 microliter of each enzyme. Okay? Do not take this tube out of the freezer box. Get the lid off. Okay? Pipette 1 microliter out. Look in your tube. Use the P2 pipette. The P2 pipette. It can only do 2 microliters total. Okay, use that. Pipette out your stuff. Look at it and make sure that you see a tiny little amount of liquid in the bottom of that tube. Okay, otherwise it's not going to, your cut won't work and your whole experiment is a failure. All right, you don't want that. Okay, so make sure some of that enzyme goes into your pipette. All right. Okay. And then, as soon as you're done assembling those enzymes and putting into that tube, okay, and always be sure and use a new pipette tip. Don't put a dirty pipette tip into one of those enzyme vials, okay. Then we're going to put that freezer container back into the freezer so it stays cold, okay. So I appreciate your taking care. It goes in the -30 freezer. See, it's got these drawers. It goes in the drawer. It does not go in the -80 freezer. If they get frozen, if you put it in the -80 freezer, they will freeze hard. Again, they'll be ruined. So it has to stay in this freezer. Okay, so that's good. We are going to do restriction cuts of both the PCR product and the PET plasmid. And you remember what? We've got to open the plasmid vector, and then we're going to cut the ends of the PCR product, and then we're going to insert that PCR product into the plasmid. So we've got to cut both with those KPM1 and XBA1 enzymes. Okay? So both of the enzymes work well at 37 degrees and with multi-core buffer. That's very fortunate. Okay, so we can put 1 buffer in and do 1 cut with the 2 enzymes in the same tube. Right? That's very convenient. Okay, so you want to carefully measure. You've now you've eluted the purified PCR product with the EB buffer. Now use a pipette, use the P20 pipette, because some of it's going to stay in the little purple column. So you want to find out exactly how many microliters of that you got out. Right? So use the P20 pipette and carefully suck it up and see how many microliters you have in the bottom of the tube. It should be somewhere around 18. All right? So figure out what that volume is. Okay? And then what you're going to do is we're going to add, if you've got these 18 microliters in there of your PCR product, okay, then to that same tube we can add the 1 microliter of KPM1, 1 microliter of XBA1. We also need to add 0.3 microliters of bovine serum albumin. It has to do with one of these two, I don't remember which one, but one of them needs to have a lot of proteins around for it to be happy. So you've got to put in BSA to keep it happy. Okay, so that's what we got to do. All right, so put in those 0.3 microliters. All right, so then what you're going to do is you need to add enough of the 10x multi-core buffer. How much do I add? Okay, well, the volume of the multi-core buffer divided by the total volume of everything in it, including the multi-core buffer, should equal 0.1. So you know what this total volume is. I can tell you what it is if it's 18 microliters, but you've got to do your own, figure out exactly how many you have. Maybe you only have 17, so then the number is going to be a little different. Okay, so but you can do that. Figure out exactly how much multi-core buffer to add, and you're going to do the same cut here with the PET plasmid. Okay, for the cut of the PET plasmid, we're going to use a little more KPM1 because it doesn't work all that well in the multi. It doesn't work as well in the multi-core buffer as the XBA1. So. And this is the plasmid, so there's a lot of DNA in there. So we're just going to use 1.5 microliters of KPM1, 1 microliter of XBA1. Okay, so you can still use the P2 to do the pipetting of these two. And you're going to use the P2 to get 0.2 microliters of BSA. Right? The BSA, it can be plus or minus 0.1. It doesn't matter that much. So if there's going to be a little stuck on the outside of the tube, it won't matter. It's not going to change anything that much. But then you're going to use 15.3 microliters of PET plasmid. You're going to add the PET plasmid to a different tube. Okay? the PET plasmid was purified separately, and it has to last for many other students. Okay, so you don't want to add anything to the tube of PET plasmid. You're going to just take out from that tube 15.3 microliters and put it in a clean tube that you can label plasmid. Right? So in a clean Eppendorf tube labeled plasmid, pipetting the following components. All of these things are going to go in. This will be exactly 20 microliters, so that means we will use 2 microliters of 10x multichloride. Okay, so assemble this tube. It's labeled plasmid. You got the other one labeled insert. Then we're going to put it in the water bath at 37 degrees, and we're going to cook it for an hour. All right, it's got to wait 1 hour. So while we're waiting, okay, you can prepare the gel that you're going to use to purify those tubes. All right, so you're going to purify the cut, insert, and plasmid, and we're going to just do it on a gel. Okay, so once your gel is prepared, okay, you're going to put 1 gram of agarose into a little flask with 100 milliliters of TAE buffer. You saw the video, okay? So you're going to make that gel just like I showed you in the video, and you're going to get it all nice and ready. You're going to stir it all up, okay? And then you're going to let it cool down a little while. You're going to add your 10 microliters of lithium bromide, stir it again, and then you're going to pour it into the prepared gel tray, and that's when you can go have dinner, okay? So that's a good time to go get dinner. You probably have another half an hour left or so. So skedaddle, and then be sure and come back, quickly, so that we can keep going. Otherwise, you stay late. Okay. So then we're going to run the 2 things that you cut. Okay. Here, I gave you this video for making the gel. Okay. So you're going to purify that plasmid.